Are you or someone you know looking to buy or sell a home? When you use a HomeGain Realtor to buy or sell a home, you can get $150. Visit homegain.com and click on the Promo 150 banner at the top of the page to get started. Compare HomeGain Realtors and choose your favorite. Complete your home purchase or sale transaction with a HomeGain Realtor, and HomeGain will pay you $150. Get started today by going to homegain.com.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Washington, D.C. Metro with local expert Ryan Sloper. Now, here's Ryan.
Welcome back to Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Sloper, joined by my guest, Louis Cammarosano, the general manager of HomeGain. Quick reminder, Real Estate Radio is designed to build the Washington, D.C. Metro's housing and credit markets one house at a time. If you ever have any questions, whether it's mortgages, whether it's real estate, whether it's credit, anything, I'd be glad to help you out or point you in the right direction if I can't help you. That off-air line is 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030. Keep in mind that's an off-air number. Leave your name and phone number, and I'll get back to you after the show. Now it's time for this week's Real-Time Real Estate. And this segment was brought to you by HomeGain. HomeGain is the place to get you started buying or selling a home, finding a realtor, and getting real estate questions answered. Go to homegain.com today to see what I'm talking about. All you have to do is type in your home address and you'll get an instant free estimate of your home's value online. It's a great way to monitor your home's value, and it's totally free. Check it out today at homegain.com. You can also go on there to search for real estate agents in your area and choose the one that you prefer to work with. Search their bios and then contact the one that you feel most comfortable dealing with. And don't have to feel like they're going to be bombarding you because you choose them. Correct, Louis?
That's correct.
And that's the best.
Anonymous.
Yeah, and that's the best part I like about your system. It's completely anonymous, and you have all control over that, so you're not going to be bombarded with phone calls and emails. This week I want to kind of dive in. I've been getting a million emails on this short sale versus foreclosure, and we've discussed it in the past, but I kind of want to give a breakdown of if you have the option between a short sale and a foreclosure. I know a lot of people are like, well, which one? Is it always better to do the short sale versus foreclosure? And me personally, my personal opinion is absolutely 100% yes. If the bank will allow you to short sale, it is the better way to go. It wins, I would say 99.99% of the time. And the reason for this is because the credit ramifications are completely different from a short sale to foreclosure. You can short sale your home and be able to purchase another home within 2 years if you short sale it. Now, let's just give an example here of somebody that maybe had a balance of $220,000 and their home's only worth $100 now. They have $120,000 basically deficiency there. That if the bank accepts the short payoff, the $120,000 would be the deficiency. So that when the transaction goes final on there, the bank's actually going to report on the credit report as mortgage debt was settled for less than full, and the balance on the mortgage is now zero. So that person is now kind of already on the road to recovery again, because the mortgage has been balanced, back to zero on the credit report, and it only shows as a mortgage debt was settled for less than amount due, which is not the same as a foreclosure. In the same instance, if we were talking about a foreclosure and they owe $220,000, if they ended up going to foreclosure, they might sell it at an even deeper discount. So instead of selling for $100, they might sell at $75. Plus, you have all the other legal costs, the preservation costs. So they might have a total deficiency liability of somewhere around $150,000, $160,000. Big difference here, guys. On the credit report, it's going to state foreclosure. And some banks actually report the deficiency as a balance owed. So if it was $150,000 or $160,000 deficiency, they might put that as the balance owed, which is a big hang up. For you to be able to buy another home, you're looking at a minimum of 7 years. 7 years before you can buy again. So the basic math of waiting 2 versus 7 years makes it a no-brainer in itself. But the larger thing is you're hindering yourself because you'll be creating a larger deficiency judgment against yourself if you choose to go the foreclosure route. The best advice that I can tell anybody is to reach out to a professional. Reach out to me. I'd be glad to point you in the right direction. Get you the help that you need so you can start getting this squared away. Please do not bury your head in the sand and pretend like this is not going on and wait for the notice that comes on your front door from the sheriff. Don't wait.
How do you convince the banks What have been some of the things you can do to convince the banks to do a short sale versus just the foreclosure route? What are some of the things that the homeowner can do? What are some of the things that an advisor can do?
Well, the first thing that I would say to do is to reach out to the bank and basically tell them, explain to them your situation. Now, you do have two different things going on here, Lewis. If you're just trying to strategically default, which basically means that you have the ability to pay and you don't want to pay, the bank's probably not going to want to accept that short sale. Okay.
But they
However,
generally tell you, I've heard, they generally tell you you have to stop paying for a while before they'll talk to you.
every bank says something different, to be honest with you.
Uh-huh.
Every single bank has something different. Some will, because there's a lot of short sales that have been done without people missing payments. So it's really going to be on a case by case, and it's really hard to pigeonhole, all the banks into one because they're so different. And I think, a lot of the time they say hardship. There has to be some sort of hardship, which could mean anything to me. I mean, a lot of the people that have more debt than they have cash are in a hardship situation. Would you agree?
Yeah, sure.
And so even if they're making decent income, but they have more debt than they do in, cash on hand, that's a hardship. So to me, you have to be able to work. I would say that the first thing is to really work with a team, a real estate agent, and an attorney that can interpret the language of, if you do get a short sale that potentially go through and they talk about deficiency judgments and all that. You need to be working with a team of a real estate agent that specializes in short sales as well as an attorney that specializes in short sales. Because I see too many times, Lewis, that the short sale goes through and then 2 years later, the borrower is all of a sudden like, well, my realtor didn't explain to me the deficiency judgment. Well, really, that's a job for an attorney, not for the realtor. They can't be interpreting language from the bank.
Right, they're just selling the home.
Exactly, they're just selling the home. But this is a big problem, and I see this is gonna grow because of all the vacant homes out there right now. Our problem's only getting worse. We're gonna have more and more short sales coming in the market. It's actually been proven that we're getting more short sales to go through now than we did a year ago. And issues down the road from the bank coming after those deficiencies, it's gonna go up. I mean, the more short sales that we do, don't think that these banks are just gonna let these deficiencies hang out there and write them all off. They're going to come after you. They're going to end up selling these things to collection companies and coming after you 7 to 8 years down the road when you least expect it.
Those are in the recourse states. Is Virginia a recourse state?
Yes, it is. And like I said, most of the banks, part of the negotiation process of the short sale is you can figure out whether they're going to, basically 1099 you for that deficiency judgment or not. That's, part of the negotiation process. So, and that's why I said it's so important that you're working with an attorney and an agent at the same time to make sure that you are making, you're getting the deal that you think you're getting.
Yeah, so what you're actually saying is that in certain circumstances, if you get a 1099, they'll view the deficiency that you didn't pay as income.
Correct. Because they have two options. They can 1099 you for it, in which case, you're going to have to basically declare that as income, or they can choose to just write that full amount off, in which the case they can't come after you for the 1099 now.
Yeah, well, that would be a deterrent to doing the short sale. If you have a hardship and you can't pay your mortgage, you're not going to be able to pay the tax deficiency.
But then there's also, then you go deeper into this, Lewis, and that's why you need to work with a CPA, because there's certain tax things that if it's your primary residence, that and it's just your first time doing that you're able to write off that deficiency. So there's so many different things that come along with the overall short sale. You really need to align yourself with a mortgage person, a real estate agent, a CPA.
All experience in short sales.
All experience in short sales. And this is critical because if you're missing maybe just one link in that chain, you probably might have ended up getting a transaction that you thought was good is really bad now. I mean, I would hate to have a $120,000 deficiency hit me in the mail one day. You know what I mean? Thinking all along that was just going to be written off by the bank, and now I'm finding that out years later. And who's ultimately going to be blamed for that down the road? It's going to be the person that had first contact with the borrower that said, oh, I can help sell your home via short sale. And that's why, I don't want to come out today and say that, that everybody is going to fit in this short sale category. I would say the majority probably will, because there's a lot of hardships out there where people are just have heavy debt loads. But
you don't want to go from one hardship to another.
You definitely don't want to go from one hardship to another. And, and that's why I said there might be a bankruptcy attorney that needs to get involved in this. I mean, there's so many pieces, so many layers that I can't just give one specific example and say this is going to fit all. The important thing is that whatever your situation is that you're in right now, reach out to me. I'd be glad to kind of point you in the right direction to let you know where to start, because your starting point might be different than somebody else. And without getting all the details, Lewis, to be honest, it is very difficult to tell somebody where they should start. It really is, because there's case by case
Case
basis.
by case, right?
Yeah, I mean, it really is, and I think that that's the biggest hang up with getting short sales approved, is that you might not necessarily be starting in the right place. 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030. We're wrapping up the show here. It was Lewis. It was great to have you on, at like usual. Please, give a little pitch for Home Gain and where consumers can reach out to find agents.
No, consumers can come to homegain.com. They can find and compare realtors anonymously. They can search listings, and they can also get an instant home valuation of their home, and also check comparable sales in their area. And you go to homegain.com, you get all your real estate needs taken care of. Thanks for having me, Ryan.
Thanks, Lewis. Guys, thank you again for tuning in today. We will be back again next Monday from 2 to 3 p.m. This is Real Estate Radio. If you have any questions, concerns, or real estate needs, the best number to reach out to us is 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030. Or reach us on the web at realestateradio.dcmetro.com. That's realestateradio.dcmetro.com. Tune in again next week from 2 to 3 p.m. on 1580 AM. Thank you for listening to Real Estate Radio.